This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. It is Thursday, January 2nd. I'm Ephraim Graham. We begin this half hour with a troubling question. Are we looking at another possible Cold War? North Korea is threatening to unveil a new strategic weapon, and Russia and China are also flexing their muscles, raising the possibility of a new international arms race. CBN's Jenna Browder is following this story for us and picks it up from our Washington, D.C. bureau.
North Korea has issued another threat toward the U.S., Kim Jong-un promising to reveal a new strategic weapon. President Trump, though, is playing it down.
Look, he likes me, I like him, we get along. He's representing his country, I'm representing my country. We have to do what we have to do.
Kim also teasing the possibility of breaking his country's self-imposed ban on testing nuclear weapons and intercontinental missiles. Both North and South Korea, along with the U.S., are locked in ongoing negotiations over denuclearization. South Korea's unification minister saying if the North unveils a new weapon, South Korea will abandon talks for peace on the Korean peninsula. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says he hopes it doesn't come to that.
We're hopeful that the Chairman Kim will make the right decision. He'll choose peace and prosperity over conflict and war.
Kim's threat comes just a few days after Russia announced its new hypersonic weapon is operational and ready for war. It can travel 27 times the speed of sound. NATO's Secretary General has voiced his concerns.
As long as we are strong, united and firm, then of course we can also engage in dialogue with Russia, including on arms control. We must avoid a new arms race. That's expensive, it's dangerous.
Right now, Russia is the only country with a weapon, but China is also developing something similar, and the U.S. is working on one too.
The economic rise of China provides great economic opportunities. It has lifted millions of people out of poverty, but at the same time we see that China invests heavily in new modern capabilities. A few weeks ago they deployed a new intercontinental ballistic missile able to reach Europe and North America.
It all points to growing concerns of a new worldwide arms race and the very real possibility that a future military conflict could be devastating. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Wednesday he would seek immunity from corruption charges, likely delaying any trial until after the March elections, when he hopes to have a majority coalition that will shield him from prosecution. As you may recall, Netanyahu was indicted back in November on charges of accepting bribes, fraud, and breach of trust. Now, that came after failing to assemble a governing majority following back-to-back elections last year. He will get a third shot at remaining in office in March. Wednesday's announcement essentially turns the upcoming election into a referendum on whether Netanyahu should be granted immunity and remain in office or step down and stand trial. A recent poll indicates a majority of Israelis oppose giving him immunity. Tens of thousands of Jewish people spent New Year's Day at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey to celebrate the reading of the entire Talmud. It drew a heavy security presence after recent anti-Semitic attacks in the area. The New Year's Day event celebrated the completion of the reading of the 2,711-page Babylonian Talmud. It is a process that takes 7.5 years. Similar events have recently been held in major cities around the globe, such as Mexico City. Others are scheduled in the next few weeks. The Talmud contains discussions of Jewish law that guide every aspect of life for the people of the Jewish faith. A few days before Christmas, Congress gave churches and other nonprofits a break by repealing the so-called parking lot tax. That was an unintended side effect of the 2017 Republican tax cut measure. President Donald Trump signed the repeal into law. The measure required houses of worship and other nonprofits to pay a 21% tax on employee benefits, even on things like parking spaces and other costs like transit subsidies. The repeal was a part of an appropriations bill for the new year, passed by both the House and the Senate. Since the bill is retroactive, the IRS will provide instructions on how churches can claim a refund on taxes they paid for the last 2 years, because of the parking lot tax. Churches and evangelical leaders praised the government's action, including Russell Moore, president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission with the Southern Baptist Convention. He said, quote, "This repeal comes as a welcome relief for millions of Americans, lifting this burden from nonprofits and houses of worship around the country. Churches must never again be seen as untapped sources of government revenue." Moore also thanked the House and the Senate leaders, as well as others elected to office who he says worked hard on this issue. President Trump is working hard to reach African-American voters, recently launching a Black Voices for Trump initiative. As CBN's David Brody shows us, being an African-American supporter of the president is more difficult than for others.
I'm looking at it from the outside, but then also having the opportunity to go inside now.
When I met 24-year-old Devin Smart outside the White House, one thing became perfectly clear.
I believe that President Donald Trump is going to win 2020 by a landslide.
It wasn't always this way. Hardly. He grew up in a family of diehard Democrats and attended an historically Black university in Hampton, Virginia. While at college, Devin started researching Trump for himself, and a specific line resonated with him.
What the hell do you have to lose?
I was just looking at his different policies, the things that he said that he was going to do. I said, okay, I'm starting to like this guy, but I was scared to say it out loud because I knew I was going to get judged.
While he didn't vote in 2016, soon after Trump became president, Devin outed himself on Twitter as a full-fledged Trump supporter, complete with the Make America Great Again hat.
The Democratic Party has been manipulating the Black community for over 50 years, and I was simply tired of it.
The insults came quickly.
I've been called a coon, a bootlicker, Uncle Tom, all of these derogatory terms simply because I support the president.
And then came more fallout. Twice he's been asked to preach at a spiritual revival conference in Virginia, and twice he's been disinvited.
The pastor called me and said, unless you go on your Twitter and say that you do not support the president, I can't invite you here. I said, well, tell me where in the Bible does it say that I cannot preach at your church because I support the president? And he said, well, there's a lot of people at my church who doesn't support the president, and when I seen that, they would be very upset with me if you come, so I have to take away your invitation.
Although the pastor hung up the phone, Devin still remains dialed in for Trump. He says he's not been disappointed. An historically low unemployment rate for African Americans, a groundbreaking prison reform law, and allocating a record amount of federal money to historically Black colleges. And those achievements, by the way, may be just paying political dividends. In 2016, Trump won 8% of the Black vote, but a new poll now shows him with almost double that, 15%.
That is the loudest I've ever heard anything in this room.
Devin came to the White House in October as part of the Black Leadership Summit. As a Christian, he experienced something pretty cool. It started when talking to a friend before the event.
She said, I would love to pray at the White House. So at the end, me and her both said, hey, President Trump, can we pray? And he pointed at me and he said, come up and pray. But she had just told me that she had a dream about praying at the White House. I looked at her, I said, go ahead.
And so she did.
God protect us. God protect our president as he's going through so much right now.
Devin went through a lot as well for publicly supporting the president. He tells me many more like him are still out there, but they operate in stealth mode.
Blacks for Trump. I like those sides.
I had over 100 messages on my Twitter of people saying, Devin, I support the president, but I'm not as strong as you to come out and say it in public. I have a lot of people who support President Donald Trump, but they won't say it. It's secret. And they're going to vote for him in 2020. I'm telling you they are.
The Trump campaign is sure hoping Devin Smart is brilliant in his prediction. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
More than 65,000 college students and young adults helped to bring in the new year yesterday in Atlanta at the Passion 2020 conference. They gathered along with their church and campus leaders to worship God at Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It is a multi-day event filled with worship and teaching to bring in the new year and the new decade, honoring God. Passion 2020 is comprised of students and leaders from more than 1,680 universities, all 50 states, and 81 countries. For the first time, Passion's opening night, December 31st, was broadcast live worldwide on TBN. Coming up, the story of a family from Iraq who came to America and are now in need of a miracle. Stay with us.
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times best-selling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts, in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
An Iraqi family living in America is praying for a miracle. 6 years ago, they came to the United States to earn a doctoral degree in scholarship from Iraq. They achieved that goal, but as CBN News' international security correspondent Eric Phillips reports, a dire situation developed, threatening them and their family back home in Iraq.
The journey for this family began in Iraq, where the government helped make it possible for them to come to America. Now, Iraq wants them home, and that's literally creating a life or death decision. At first glance, John Boutros appears like a healthy, energetic 2-year-old. Sadly, there's much more to this toddler than immediately meets the eye.
The most difficult part for me, seeing my child suffering as a mom.
And I cannot imagine losing him. It's very difficult.
And it makes the entire family's situation difficult as well. In 2013, Wissam Toma and his wife, both Christians, left Iraq for him to attend Virginia Commonwealth University and earn a PhD in pharmacology and toxicology. During that time, the couple had 2 children, Miriam and John. The family celebrated at Wissam's graduation in 2018. Behind the smiles, however, was worry.
It's very difficult and very frustrating, very stressful too.
The stressful situation began with their son, John.
He was fine, he was happy, nothing was wrong with him when he was born.
Then, at only 6 months old, John contracted a viral infection. Although it went away after a couple of months, it left him not wanting to eat. Doctors eventually discovered painful ulcers and fluid going to John's lungs. As he began to lose weight, doctors inserted a feeding tube.
He was not comfortable at all. He was sad, congested all of the time from that tube. He'll sneeze, the tube will come out, and we have to put it back. It was a very kind of painful process. Sometimes blood will come out of his nose, he'll choke.
Then came unexplained seizures, kidney stones, and abnormal growth. Doctors ran all kinds of tests looking for answers. Finally, in July, the family got a diagnosis from doctors here at the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU that answered some questions, but perhaps created even more. John was diagnosed with a genetic disorder. It's called Nicolaitis-Baraitser syndrome.
It's very rare. I have never seen a case with it. There are 75 cases in the world. He needs a number of physicians to work with him, neurology, kidney doctors, feeding and developmental specialists that we have here at Children's Hospital of Richmond. Big up, Ben.
Treatment that John certainly would not get back in Iraq, although that doesn't concern government officials there. They want Wissam back because he signed a government contract to receive the scholarship.
The agreement is if the student doesn't come back home, he's required to pay back all his due on a lump sum.
And that totals more than $300,000, money the family does not have. Wissam's offered to pay back the loan in installments, but Iraq says no. He's reached out to both the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and the Iraqi Embassy in Washington. Neither can help due to the binding document. What's worse, Wissam's siblings co-signed the contract, and now the government is garnishing their pay.
They say, I know you're trying your best to help that, but you have to come back.
His family back home is in a situation because of us, and we care about them too. But we had no choice in this situation also. Nobody wished to have a sick child.
After being turned down for a loan, the family started a GoFundMe account online, but have only raised a fraction of what they need.
As Christians, we always hold our cross and walk everywhere. Like in the Psalm 23rd. Even if I walk in the valley of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil because you are with me. So this is our life there. We accept everything, but now the major issue of us is John's health.
What do you want to see happen?
A miracle. We have faith in God, we believe in God, and we believe in miracles.
The family believes there's an answer to their situation, but so far they haven't found it. They're hoping that by getting their story out, someone may have a suggestion that will point them in the right direction. In the meantime, they're feeling the weight of the world on their shoulders. In Washington, Eric Phillips, CBN News.
Still ahead, the search for answers in helping people with mental issues. We'll have that story when we come back.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN NewsWatch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today. Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're gonna be late for the grand opening. My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come? I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
An estimated 20,000 mentally ill people live among the growing homeless population in Los Angeles. One psychiatrist who spent time on the street and believes he knows what contributed to the problem. Here's Lori Johnson with this doctor who believes we can begin to fix it.
Today's homeless crisis can possibly be traced back to the last bill signed by President John F. Kennedy. In 1963, the Community Mental Health Act closed America's insane asylums. While this law helped transform the often barbaric treatment of the mentally ill, it's also led to unforeseen problems.
Yeah, well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I think that's a great example of deinstitutionalization.
Psychiatrist Kenneth Rosenberg says the sad consequence is people with those same issues often go untreated today.
That's just a sin, if you ask me, and that's something that we really have to correct.
About 11 million Americans have a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, suicidal depression, or severe PTSD, which can render them utterly dysfunctional. In his book, Bedlam, An Intimate Journey into America's Mental Health Crisis, the author and filmmaker says these people ping-pong between the street and a jail cell.
Los Angeles is the epicenter of this crisis. The largest mental institution in this country is the LA County Jail. The largest collection of people outside is in Skid Row. Skid Row is kind of like a day hospital, if you will, for people with serious mental illness.
Add to this equation an estimated 8 out of 10 people living on the streets struggle with addiction. For the mentally ill, that's like pouring gasoline on a fire.
We know there are factors that can bring a mental illness out of the woodwork, open a window, if you will, on serious mental illness that would otherwise be closed. What are those factors? Poverty, trauma, going to jail. Unfortunately, most of the mentally ill end in jail nowadays. And above all else, substance abuse.
Although this perfect storm may seem hopeless, Dr. Rosenberg offers concrete solutions, starting with community treatment centers.
These are terrible diseases, but people can get better. They may not be curable, but they are very treatable.
Also expanding the number of mental health courts.
We can mandate treatment for people who are too sick to know that they need it.
And developing drugs that work better with fewer side effects.
The medicines we're using for serious mental illness today are 70 years old. I think that's absolutely terrible. God forbid you have breast cancer, God forbid you have colon cancer. You're going to get a treatment that's 2 or 3 years old, not one that's 70 years old.
For family and friends of someone going through this, Dr. Rosenberg says eating healthy, lowering stress, sleeping well, minimizing drug use where possible, and feeling connected all help minimize mental illness. Doctors say psychotic illness typically comes on between ages 17 and 21, and the longer the brain goes untreated, the worse it becomes. So early intervention is key.
And there are people in your community, in your church, in your synagogue, who could help you think this through. The clergy are very proficient in understanding how to deal with this, how to send you to the proper health care providers, people who will be consistent with your own spiritual practices.
So while America grapples with issues both past and present in treating the mentally ill, there's still hope by making it a priority and using a variety of treatments. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Coming up, Tom Selleck talks about his faith and how he looks to God to guide him. Stay with us.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
From Washington, D.C., uncompromising stories, interviews, and analysis from veteran journalists David Brody.
Escalating fight.
Jenna Browder.
Chose his words carefully.
Ben Kennedy.
Plan to join him.
And Amber Strong.
For impeachment grows a little bit louder.
Bringing you the political news that matters.
We get out and tell the story of the progress that we're making in this country.
Watch Faith Nation, weeknights at 6 on the CBN News Channel.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is, this is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Tom Selleck, best known for his acting roles in Blue Bloods and Magnum P.I., credits Jesus Christ for his success. He's now 74 and still playing Frank Reagan in the long-running Blue Bloods series on CBS, and he admits his journey as a Christian has been shaky over the years. He tells BeliefNet he was a business major and planned to work for United Airlines after college, but he landed a few roles in commercials and was then offered an acting contract with 20th Century Fox. He also served in the Army from 1967 to 1973 and says he is proud to be a veteran and to have served alongside his brothers and sisters in the military. After serving in the military, Selleck headed to Hollywood and relaunched his acting career. That's when he landed the iconic role of Magnum P.I. But he says he continued to allow God to be his guide, quoting the scripture, "A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time." Time now for your Thursday Thankful, and with that, I leave you with this thought of thanksgiving. I thank God for change, no matter how challenging. I know in moments of discomfort, he is at work on me and preparing me for greater. With that word, I encourage you to make today a Thankful Thursday and to make a wonderful remainder of the week. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Remember, you can always find more of our CBN News programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. You can email us. The address, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Certainly hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a Thankful Thursday. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.